one of the league's best young outfielders set to dominate the MLB for probably the next decade. He already has a national championship, and I mean, he's still going. At age 21, Juan Soto is one of the MLB's best young players, and he's super far from his apex. But even as of right now, he is an elite MLB baseball player. So, how you guys doing? It is Saturday, May 30th, 2020, here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. And with this profile, I'm just going to get into what makes Juan Soto one of the league's best. But before I get into that, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. So, I mean, of course, he came from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. He was eventually signed to the Washington Nationals organization he was signed as a free agent in 2015, and he worked his way up through the minor leagues where he eventually became one of the league's top prospects. Once he got to the MLB, he basically couldn't stop. His rookie season, he really kind of went off for the Nationals with a 292 batting average, 22 home runs, 70 RBIs, 121 hits in 116 games. He didn't play the full season because he started a little late because that's kind of what the rookies do. But he would go on to finish second in the Rookie of the Year race to Ronald Acuna Jr., a player that I will mention probably later today in my own little tidbit about him. But for now, I'm getting into Juan Soto. Of course, after his first year, people were definitely aware of the type of player Juan Soto was. He came to the league with a rare combination of
Mm-hmm.
power, speed, ability, and he's actually a really really good outfielder as well. He brings a lot of flair to the game. Of course, he talks. He's helping the MLB he's one of the players in this new generation helping MLB transition into just a let the kids play type league. And of course, I enjoy that because I love playing baseball as a kid. And I kind of like how they're bringing that fun back to baseball. I know because, I mean, I'm a Braves fan. So, of course, I watch Juan Soto a lot because the Braves and the Nationals they play 6 times a year. Something crazy like that. So, yes, of course, I'm well aware of what Juan Soto can do. I know what he does for the team. And I really put him on this elite list because of his jump from his rookie year to his sophomore year, which of course is really really tough for a lot of pros, especially young pros, when they establish this hype around them so early, and they've established themselves as one of the league's best. And of course now they're starting to get a lot of the the best MLB pitchers. Of course they're going to pitch their best against him as well. And he's still been able to rise to the occasion, become an even better player than he was his first year. And of course, in his second year, he solidified himself as the centerpiece of the Washington Nationals core, kind of really moving forward naturally. And in his second season, he would go on to he was going on to play 150 games, where he had 153 hits in those games, averaging more hits than games. He had a 282 batting average, 34 home runs, 110 RBIs. He would go on to finish 9th in the MVP voting at only 20 years old. Once again, finishing behind a player in his class, Ronald Acuna, but he's still a year younger. And of course, that's very, very impressive when you kind of really consider it all. And this last season, Juan Soto was a beast. And they had Steven Strasburg, naturally. But Juan Soto became, this year, after Anthony Rendon, he was the Nationals' most complete, consistent hitter. And this year, now that Rendon has moved to the Los Angeles Angels. I apologize. The Los Angeles Angels. Now Juan Soto is the premier all around batting, or he's the number one batting option on that team. He's probably going to bat cleanup this year. I imagine that this will be another year in which he kind of takes off and goes a little higher in the MVP voting, because each year he's getting better and better in the areas that he's really not so good at, and you kind of see that with his progression. Even within the last 2 seasons, you've seen how much he's grown since the first time he's gotten there. He's gotten a lot faster. He's gotten incredibly stronger. He's been able to connect with his swings and kind of follow through on his swings. He's making more contact. No, I'm really, really impressed with what I've seen with Juan Soto. This upcoming season, he's definitely looking to be an all-star for sure. But we'll see if he can insert himself into the conversation with Cody Bellinger, Kristen Yelich, Ronald Acuna, because that's the conversation. That is the threshold he's trying to break, and he can very possibly break it this season. He already has a World Series under his belt, so he doesn't have the pressure that the other players, the other premier outfielders in the MLB do. And a lot of it goes to his team, but he played up. He had some big hits along the way. I remember he hit a 3-run double against the Milwaukee Brewers in the wild card game. And had they not won the wild card game, they wouldn't have a chance to at least play in the playoffs that year. And they went on to win the World Series. I think that hit went a long way. And Juan Soto is definitely going to be remembered for that hit because that was probably the biggest hit they've had all playoffs. And you can kind of attribute that to Juan Soto. Offensively, defensively, just given how young he is and how much he's done with the Washington Nationals. If you're a baseball fan, you can't help but appreciate how great Juan Soto has been. And I think a lot of baseball fans give him the credit that he already deserves already. I don't know if there's really anyone out there that doesn't think that Juan Soto is a great baseball player if you watch baseball. So, I mean, he's definitely one of those players. He's incredibly well-loved, and he's a player that's actually really fun to watch because, like, he's one of the young players that celebrates. He makes it really fun, and at the same time, he's still incredibly good and consistent at the plate. So, of course, there's that combination of just being that good and then, like, being a star-type person and being a star-type athlete. He's able to do both. He does it incredibly well. And whenever this season resumes, even though I'm a Braves fan, of course I'm going to take the time to watch Juan Soto when he comes to bat against the Atlanta Braves. With that, I really appreciate you if you actually took the time to listen to all of this. I'm going to keep doing players, kind of the elite players that I have listed among my elites from youngest to oldest. So naturally with the younger players, the videos are going to be a lot shorter as there's less of their career to talk about. But of course, I like talking about their potential and how great of a player they could actually be going on. Even like Juan Soto is looking like a player that will eventually compete for MVPs down the line. But as of right now, I don't know. So, I mean, it's always fun to make these predictions, but it's always better to really just watch and see these players for yourself. But I'm kind of doing this segment so that I can bring light to players that if you're watching the sport that you're aware of, and you're unaware of how elite they are, I'm taking the time to say, like, these players are very, very elite. I'm not demanding you watch it, but I'm saying if you have no one to watch and if you just want to look at some highlights to see if there are other good players out there, of course, like they're all out there. There are a bunch of really good players on different teams. Juan Soto is a player that if there were no other good players on the field, of course, I'd still watch Juan Soto play. So that's really what the point of this whole series is, and I really appreciate you for kind of understanding what I'm saying and really kind of bearing through all of this. Because, I mean, at the end of it, it is a lot. But, I mean, there's a lot of good players, and it's a lot of what makes sports just, like, amazing, just seeing the best athletes in the world compete and do what they do. So, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make this one super long. But with that, I'm really going to sign off. And, once again, thank you again for listening to this. And then I'm just going to sign off and just say, peace.